are live from the Conservative Party conference. I'm joined now by Lord Eric Pickles, who's a former Conservative Party chair and also a former cabinet minister too. Eric, while we were just preparing for this interview, you told me that this is your 52nd Conservative Party conference. Have you ever known one with such competing messages from senior members? There seems to be an awful lot of confusion about what the message is from the new Prime Minister and new Chancellor.
Well, the short answer is yes, I have in that period. It never ends terribly well. So I think there's important lessons for the leadership of our great party, which is to decide what the message is and to give it in a consistent way. Truth is, the Conservative Party conference needs to be an absolute disaster before it has any real effect on the government. A good conference makes practically no difference. So what's happening outside the conference in terms of what they're going to be talking to the OBR about, and I know that takes such a long time to be able to get agreement, what we're going to want to know is the government's plans for growth, is it realistic? If it is realistic, the government can move out of this problem without much difficulty. But if it isn't, then they're in a lot of trouble.
There is some confusion about when the independent forecast, the thing that Mel Stride, who's the chair of the Treasury Select Committee, is sort of working out, opening the books, seeing the state of the nation's finances. It was briefed out yesterday, we assume by government sources, that would come earlier than the 23rd of November when we get the next budget. But in an exclusive interview with GBNews, the Chancellor told Liam Halligan that no, those independent forecasts would be published on the 23rd of November. It just seems like unnecessary confusion. What lessons do the leadership need to learn to make sure the message is clear?
Well, the message is give a clear message. I mean, I listened to Mel this morning, who was welcoming the decision to move it forward. If I'm honest, I was rather surprised it was, because it's actually quite a complicated and a difficult process of negotiations, and they're not a pushover, aren't the independent office. They're going to want to look at details, and it's going to be vitally important that they give a clean bill of health to the government when they do.
And there seems to be confusion about whether benefits should rise in line with prices. The Prime Minister saying no decision's been taken on that. Two cabinet ministers, I'm probably counting, have said, well, yes, they should rise in line with prices. You've been in the cabinet. It's sort of freelancing. Isn't it a bit unusual?
It is rather unusual, and the problem is that when people arrive at midnight and say you don't have the numbers, it then kind of opens things up for other things to have happened. But I think President Johnson said if you're going to be successful in politics, you need to be able to count. Now, obviously, I'm not involved in the Commons anymore, but I've just been talking to somebody who is, and who's really on the ball, and her view was they don't have the numbers. Now, that doesn't mean to say is that you can't do something about benefits. That doesn't mean to say you can't do about people who you want to get out to work. There's lots of things you can do. But you can't just do that by cutting down benefits. You've got to look at training. You've got to look at opportunities. You've got to look at encouragement. You've got to look at sitting by people when they're going into work, when they haven't been in work for a long time.
And just finally, I was chatting to a couple of Conservative councillors, not on air, we were just chatting privately, just behind you. Before we came on air, there were two great women, and they were saying we'd like to see Boris back. Could it happen?
In a word, no.
He can't defy the rules again.
Well, he's capable of defying just about everything. He's a very talented individual, and the normal rules don't apply to him. But I think it's a tad unlikely.